Let's go ahead and get into how to create an indicator. So an indicator is arrows on the chart for the most part. In this scenario or situation, this is an indicator. As you can see, the arrows on the chart, this is an indicator that we created. So it gives the buy signal here on this candle, or after this candle closed, we would have entered here. It would have went against us about looks like about 66 pips. Now we would wait for a small pullback about half of this candle, or you can look for a pullback to the support line here and get in. But even if you trade the signal as is, as you can see, it went up from here about 380 pips. All right, so here's another signal here. This is an hourly chart. This is the GBP USD. So if you look here, here's another signal. It's a bearish signal. It went against us about 36 pips, and immediately it went down about 120 pips. This is the next day. Here, the third day, went down about 172 pips. This is another sell signal. This went against us about 30 pips. Okay, so about 100 pip profit potential. And then it gives us the buy signal. Like I said, you can wait for a pullback. This didn't pull back all the way to this level. It really didn't pull back halfway because the bar is so large, but about halfway. But even if we trade the signal as is, this is what it looks like. About a 30, almost a 30 pip drawdown. And it went up 36 pips so far. Went up 40 pips so far, was the highest. So this is the indicator that I created using. All right, let me just show you guys. Using EA Builder. So a lot of the indicators you see out there for sale, they are probably using a program like this in which they choose or select the parameters and then it creates the code for them. So what you can do, you can actually create your strategy. You can create your indicator for free. If you want to create a strategy, then you would need to actually purchase the program or purchase the software. Okay, so this is a web-based platform, and this is how it looks when you get to the inside area of the platform. So what you want to do is first you need to go to New, create New Strategy or Indicator. If you're using the free version, you may only have the ability to create an indicator, and you probably won't see the strategy option here. So choose or select indicator. You give it a name. Let's say for this example, and we're just going to create just a random indicator and load it. So we'll say this is example MA cross. Okay, and the details behind it, we will say when the 20 period EMA crosses the, we'll say, what's another popular EMA? Exponential moving average, the 50 exponential moving average. Okay, and we create the indicator, and this is what it looks like. So first you want to create a condition. A condition is just a scenario or a parameter. So you want this indicator. You want to select your moving average here. The period is the, what did we say, 20 period moving average. And then you have the method is going to be exponential moving average. Okay, so this is representing the 20 period moving average. And then you have the situation here. So when the 20 period moving average crosses above the 50 period moving average, I think that's what we said, the 50 period moving average. Now this is the time frame. So if we wanted to tie this to a certain time frame, we would come here and select this. So this just says current. So whatever time frame we're on, that's the time frame it will apply this to. If we were to put it at the 5-minute time frame, then it'll look at the 50 period moving average on the 5-minute time frame, but we just leave it to current. Exponential moving average. So this first condition says when the 20 period moving average crosses above the 50 period moving average. Okay, and when we select this or create this, it actually writes the code for us. This is the MT4 or MQL code. And here's the first condition right here. This if statement right here. Okay, so let's remove this. Now this is a blank shell, there's nothing here, and then you can see that all of this information right here is already here. Okay, so this is kind of like the shell that exists before you input any code. So let's go and put that back. Let's walk you through it again. So moving average, 20 period EMA, exponential crosses above 50 period EMA. Okay, so now what we want to do is when this takes place, remember this is an indicator. If you were creating a strategy, then this would be the parameter or the condition that needs to be met before the system buys or put in a buy order for you. But since this is an indicator, we need to tell it to basically just put a green or a blue arrow or some type of indication for us to buy. So we click this button, arrow type. We want an arrow going up. You can also do a histogram, which will be at the bottom of the chart, but the easiest way to do it or the most defined way to do it is just to put an arrow. Arrow type up. So we want the arrow to show up when this condition is met, and we want the width to be, we'll say 3, make it kind of thick. And then the color. You can select green if you would like. I usually keep it at blue. Buy. Okay. Now this is where this section over here is where you want the arrow to show up on the chart. So when this condition is met, we want an arrow to show up on the chart, but where do we want the arrow to show up at the chart? So I usually do trend line. Okay. I'm sorry, I usually do support and resistance, because when the 20 period crosses the 50 period moving average, which is our condition here, we want it to give the signal toward the bottom or the trend line going up. So what I do is I select the S and the R, which is support and resistance. Support is the level at the bottom. Resistance is, of course, the level at the top. So support supports the price. So this will be the section where price comes down and bounces. This will be the resistance, will be the point where price goes up, and it is there's a level of resistance. So price resists this area and returns down. I want it to look at, we'll just say 5 bars, and give me the support level of those 5 bars. And it doesn't need to print anything on the chart. So it doesn't need to draw the lines on the chart. So I make sure that's not there. I just want the arrow to show up at the bottom, and then I click OK. Now for the sell signal, we want the opposite to take place. We want, let me show you. So basically the 20, let's say that the 20 period moving average was the blue line and the red line was the 50 period moving average. When the 20 period crosses over the 50 period moving average, so if this condition right here was the 20 and the 50 period moving average, we would want the buy signal or the buy arrow to display here at this point right here. The cross takes place, condition is met, the next candle it shows us, or this candle after the condition is met, it shows us the buy signal, and we will look at that in just a minute. Okay, and the reason why it would show us the buy signal right around this area is because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you draw a line here, this would be the resistance line. So I'm sorry, this would be the support. So the arrow or the candle this candle right here meets the condition, and the signal will display right here or right in this area. All right, so let's go back over here. Now this is the buy. This is only the buy. Now to do the sell, you can hit new indicator buffer and select the opposite of what we did up here, meaning we can hit new indicator buffer and we can hit add condition and put moving average 20 EMA crosses below. We would select below the 50 period moving average, and then for the label we would select sell and then change the color to red. But we don't have to do that. We can just click the create opposite order button and it would actually create the opposite of this up here. But we need to do this, we need to do that down here. And it's going to look up here and create the opposite for us. So this says when the 20 period moving average crosses above the 50, buy. This says when the 20 period moving average crosses below the 50, we want to display a sell signal. Now, one of the things we will have to change, you notice the color. There is no opposite of blue, so we would need to change the color to red or whatever color we want to indicate the sell signal. Okay. Now over here, you see the buy signal would have triggered under the support level or at the support level, but the sell signal is going to trigger around or at the resistance level, which is up here, the top. Okay. So once we do that, we have our conditions here, and we just go over to source, and this is the code. So we would copy, and it highlights it for us. But you see here it says press Control C to copy or Control V and Control V to paste. So we would copy it. So I'm going to do Control C, hold down Control and press C. Okay. Then I'm going to go over to MT4 and I'll go to File. Okay. Now the easiest way to do this, let's go here. Let's bring back up the panel over here, and under Indicators, right click and go to Create in Meta Editor. Okay. And Custom Indicator. Click Next. Alright, so the indicator name, we leave the indicator slash here because that means it's going to put it in the indicators folder for us. So we leave that, and this is the 50 or the 20. Actually, I like to name it the exact same. Example MA cross. That'll be the name. Let's go back here. Example MA cross is the name. Go to next, next, finish. Alright, so this code here was already here. This is just a shell. Now what you can do is you can right click, go to select all, and you can hit the delete button and remove everything because you want to wipe everything in here clean because we have new code. Or you can click Control A and it selects everything and then hit delete. So what we're going to do, we're going to right click, select everything here or select all, and you see over here it says, or you can do Control A, hold Control and press A. So we want to select all, we want to press the delete button and it removes everything. And then we want to Control V or paste. Okay. Now this is a compiler, so we have to compile the code. Okay, that's what this is. This is just a code for the indicator. We click compile, which basically means bring together. So we compile it. This also saves it. Now, after we do that, this is automatically saved and stored in our MT4 under indicators. However, if you don't see it, you need to right click and go to refresh. Okay. Now, this is the indicator we just created. So let me go over here to chart and indicator list because I have one on the list already, so I need to delete, and delete the moving averages as well. Close. Okay, so example MA, we take it and we drag it to the chart. And there it is. That's the arrow. Right here, there's a sell signal. You can see the buy signal right here. Sell signal, buy signal, buy signal. So even though this was a random indicator that we created, the way you would trade this, now this is only an example, this is not necessarily a strategy. As you can see, if you was to take most of these trades, I mean, I guess eventually at some point you would be in profit, but it doesn't look like it would overall be a money maker for you. But let me just show you how you would trade it. The condition, and let's put the conditions on the chart to see how this actually worked. Let's find the moving average here. Moving average. Okay. We want the 20 period moving average, exponential moving average. That was our first condition. Okay. Let's make it kind of thick so you can see it. And then we also want the 50 period moving average. And let's make that dark green. Okay. So basically we said our first condition was when let's go back here, was when the 20 period moving average crosses the 50 period moving average. After the cross takes place, so the condition is met here, after the cross takes place, we would enter at this level. We would enter at this level because it gives us a buy signal after this candle closes. And this very next candle, the open of the very next candle, would be our entry point. Now, as far as your exit, this will not give you an exit signal, but you would need to make your own parameters around when you would exit. So basically, if I was trading this, I would just say I will exit this after price closes below the 50 period moving average, because that would indicate a reversal. So basically I would get in here, this level, and hold the trade until price closes below the 50 period moving average. So this line represents what we got in. Then that close would have took place right here. And then we got out somewhere around here. So it's 546 pips. Okay, same with this. This is telling us to go short or sell. When this appeared, we would have got in on the next candle, and we would have gotten out of the trade when this closed here, so that would have been a loss of 35 pips. This is a buy. However, the market is going sideways, so we probably would have skipped that one. This is a sell. Next candle, get in, get out. The market closed above. That would have been 44 pips. Market is going sideways. The arrow is actually over the candlestick. Definitely a skip. The arrow is right on the candlestick, which means the resistance line is very close to the cross. And usually if you create an indicator, the false signals or the fail signals are when the moving average is intertwined like this, because it goes up very short range. And the best time to trade your indicator, if you're creating an indicator with a moving average, is when it gives a signal and then the moving average looks healthy, it's going up, it has a nice gap in between, and it just steady goes up, and it's not very thin and close like this little area up in here. See, it's not like this. So like this would be a healthy trade. So you get in here, it's a signal, you get in here, and you just hold it until it crosses above the 50, 112 pips. You couldn't do anything about getting into the trade um, because you don't really know how this will play out because none of this is on the chart. But after you get in, you can examine and make sure that your moving averages have a healthy space in between and is going in the right direction. So that's how that works. That is how you create a free indicator. Again, this is just a random something I put together just to show you guys how you would create the indicator and kind of how you would go about trading whatever indicator you guys decide to trade. So please don't use this indicator, although it doesn't look too bad. There are a lot of losses, but please don't use these parameters indicator or this indicator to try to trade the market because it doesn't look like it'll be very successful. Exit signal